Hey, we are live.
Call the Board of County Commissioners meeting to order. Rise for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Morning. We'll open the meeting with public comment. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, we will move on to the claims. Vendor claims in the amount of $30,232.49.
I'll move to pay the claims in amount of $30,232.49.
I'll second the motion.
Motion been made and seconded to pay claims in said amount. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same. Motion carries. Okay, next on the agenda is decision of county mass policy for county buildings. This is the county mass policy for county buildings. The Broadwater County Courthouse and all Broadwater County buildings are open to provide all services. However, a face mask or face covering is required to enter all Broadwater County buildings to provide for the safety and protection of our employees and prevent an unnecessary closure and loss of services. Email, phone, and mail correspondence is still encouraged to conduct business if possible to reduce traffic in the courthouse. We appreciate your patience and understanding during this challenging time. Please use the contact list below or call or email the office you have business with if you have questions. Any comments or?
I know that Corey has read this and approved it, and so we have done that part. I guess with that, I would make a motion to approve the Broadwater County mass policy.
I would second that motion.
The motion's been made and seconded to approve the Broadwater County mask policy for Broadwater County Courthouse and all Broadwater County buildings. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same. Motion carries. Okay, next, department heads update. Alice Costco, County Extension Agent.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
How are you guys? All right. So I wanted to share a few things with you, and I dropped these off at your desks this morning there. And I'll just start with a quick 4-H update. And so these are our 4-H numbers. I usually try to come in here. It seems like the end of the year, and I didn't make it in this last year because of I was on maternity leave. So this was last year's numbers as well as kind of an unofficial where we're at this year with 4-H. And as you can see, it is unofficial numbers for this year. The end of the 4-H year is September 30th, and so they can fluctuate a little between now and then, probably not a lot, but a little. And we are down quite a bit in our 4-H numbers this year, and COVID, is probably mainly to blame for that. Our 4-H program definitely has been impacted by that for lots of different reasons. One just being is we've had to make changes based off of whatever the governor's directive is to how we conduct our 4-H groups and meetings, as well as being strategic about how we do that. Even if the governor's directive doesn't limit us, we want to make sure that we're keeping our families safe and healthy. And I think some families have just chosen to kind of take a step back from activities for a year or so, just because things are different. And we are not pushing a lot of our workshops and activities that we normally would. Most of those are volunteer driven. And we want to keep our families and our volunteers safe and healthy. And so if they're not comfortable doing a workshop in person, or they don't want to do that, we're not really pushing that this year. And so our activities are down, our workshops are down. We're doing some things virtually, but some things are just hard to do virtually. And so we're definitely seeing that in our numbers this year. We're not actively recruiting just because it's hard to recruit into a program that's just kind of strange right now. So that's just kind of the way it is. And I hope once we get through the pandemic that our numbers will go up and we can start recruiting again and get kind of back on track. But that being said, things are going fairly well, all things considering. Even though things do look a little different, clubs are still meeting for the most part. We're doing some activities. We're doing our annual leader training tonight. Most of the state events are all virtual. We had our 4-H legislative breakfast a few weeks ago. Maybe it's been a month ago. And that was virtual. Normally that's a really cool event where the kids go to Helena and get to meet with legislatures and tell them about 4-H and extension. That was virtual. So, everything is virtual, especially at the state level, but that's okay. We're getting through it. We are going to attempt to do a county contest day. We did end up canceling that last year due to COVID, but this year we are going to do something, and we just have to kind of tweak our rules to make sure that people are social distancing. Like our cooking contest, we're not going to taste food. It's going to be more about presentation, the cooking skills, more of the display part of it versus the actual taste test, which is kind of a bummer, but at least the kids get to do something. So we're making things work. We're adjusting as we go, and just we'll get through this. So anyway, I wanted to share those numbers with you to kind of start with and give you a 4-H update. Other things are going well. My work status, I'm still only part-time. Usually I'm in the office about 3 days a week. But I only have 2 more weeks of maternity leave, and then I'll be back full-time the second week of March. But Jessica's been here, and she's been amazing. She started in September, end of September, and we had 1 week together, and then I left her. But she's been doing amazing, and she just jumps in wherever she's needed and just figures things out. So I did ask her when I'm done here to come in and do a quick fair update for you. And she's been working on that as well. We do have a few programs going. I'm in the middle of teaching the Master Gardener Level 2 class. I've been doing Level 1 about every other year and kind of building up to a Level 2 when we get enough participants. And we finally have reached the point where we have enough participants and did a Level 2. I have 17 people signed up. Which is great. It's really good numbers for something like that. It's a really in-depth 8-week class, 2 hours a night for 8 weeks. So it's really in-depth. So it's good numbers for that kind of class. We're doing it virtual and in person. That's kind of the trend these days. And so I have some that participate online, and we're getting a pretty good setup for that. And then the rest come to the class, and that's been working. It's we're learning, but we'll be on class number 3 tonight, and I feel like we're finally getting the setup works. Some of our presenters, though, if they're coming from MSU, some of them have travel restrictions, so we're joining them virtually. It's the name of the game these days. And then let's see, I'm working on a native plants class for April. That's been a request from the community for a few times, and I have some community members who are helping me with that, so that'll be fun. And then I haven't done a lot of egg programs. Just again, COVID's made it challenging to do a lot of in-person classes. And right now there is a ton of virtual online classes, and I just didn't feel that I could compete with that, and just have encouraged local agriculture producers to participate in those online classes if they're interested. And I think a lot of them are, actually. I was surprised. I've talked to quite a few people that have said they've tuned in to different things that I've shared, and that's been good. So hopefully we'll see how things go. Spring, early summer, I may try to do something in person that might be outside, kind of like a demonstration type thing, but I'm just going to kind of see. It's hard to make long-term plans right now, as you know. So we'll see how that goes. If nothing else, egg programs are hard to do in the summer anyway, just because people are so busy. But if nothing else, hopefully by next fall, winter, we can kind of get back into the swing of things there. Let's see, what else? Let's see, another thing I wanted to share is I am currently going through the process of becoming, doing a trainer in a program called Gracious Space. And basically what that is it's a leadership tool, a facilitation tool to help groups work better together. And so it's a program that I've been going through at my last classes this Wednesday. And when I'm done with it, the idea is I can come out into the community or the state and be certified to teach Gracious Space.
Gracious Space?
Gracious Space.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think it would be really cool at some point to maybe share that with the county departments, because I think it's something that we all can use in our meetings and the groups that we work with to try to bring people together in situations that may be contentious or maybe difficult to work through. And I think there's some techniques in that program called Gracious Space that we can all use. So when we kind of, again, get back to normal, if there's an opportunity to share that, I think that would be great. I'd love to do that. Which also reminds me, when last winter we were also talking about maybe doing real colors for the county. Maybe that would be an opportunity to do that at some point. We did that with Public Works last winter, and that was really cool. As well as the board training too. I think that could be something that you could put into a board training as well. So lots of opportunities. So before I turn it over to Jessica, does anyone have any questions for me or want me to talk about anything else?
I guess, Andy kind of talked a little bit about it, but like our continuing education courses for our pesticide license and some different things. You're thinking later on in the summer, maybe you have to be fall. Or what do you think?
Yeah, it's a good question. So the good news is for private applicator licenses, we're kind of in the middle of the cycle. So we have until 2023 to get the credits. And so we do a crop school typically every winter. We talked about doing that virtually, but just decided, what farmer is going to want to sit all day and watch a webinar? And at that point, I think the biggest group size we could be at is 25. So we kind of decided this winter, because we have a couple years to get credits, that we weren't going to push all the virtual stuff or try to manage the group size issue.
Sure.
But I think hopefully by next fall, we can start doing that again. There have been some virtual opportunities to get credits. I've been trying to share those as they come up. But yeah, hopefully, maybe by the summer, if not this fall, winter, I would really hope that we can get back to doing some credit opportunities, because it's been a while. It's been since last year.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know they're well attended, and everybody appreciates them, even just from the standpoint to get together and see one another, right?
I think we're all ready for that. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and we're starting to get into the hard time right now to do egg programs, because people are calving, they're going to be in the field soon. So, it gets tougher, but that doesn't mean it's not possible. And, maybe that once we kind of are able to, people are just going to be so excited to get together for a class and not watch it on a computer screen. They're all going to come, but we can hope anyway. So,
perfect.
Yeah.
How about the 4-H fair?
Oh, yeah, good question. Yeah, so we're proceeding as normal. We had a really successful fair last year. Actually, we had tons of great feedback. The people liked things almost maybe a little better than even a normal year. Just loved being outside. Actually, kind of enjoyed not having the hustle and bustle of everything else that goes on. It was a lot safer for the kids at the fairgrounds, because there wasn't the traffic and the horses and everything that was happening. So we are planning a normal fair. I think worst case scenario, if things go bad again, hopefully we can do something like we did last year. The challenge is it was fairly expensive, especially with that tent, to do fair last year, but I think it was a better option than not doing anything. So, and there are some changes that we did last year that, long term, that I think we'd like to look at. We've been talking for a long time about what to do with the livestock barn and the numbers, because we're starting to outgrow that space. I think what we did last year with having the tent outside gave us another option to look at long term of something that we could potentially do to open up the barn a little bit. Like I said, again, it was expensive, so not something that's a really easy choice. Also, in a normal year with the fair, there's typically things there in that location, so some logistical things too. But it's hard to plan right now, but we are planning like normal, and as we get closer, at least we have a plan from last year. If we needed to, we could look at that. And there will probably be some things that we do differently forever. We did an online auction for indoor projects, and it actually went really well. So we're thinking, why not do that every year? We liked actually using both the commercial building and the 4-H building to judge exhibits because we really spread things out. And so we're thinking, well, we can if we pick the day where there's nothing happening in the 4-H building, we can do that every year. So, it was, I think, a good for us to look at things differently and how we can make some better long-term changes for the program.
Sure. Good. All right.
And I love Anne's 4-H mask.
Oh, I didn't see that.
You haven't seen her mask? She had to come show it off to me the other day. So I have a 4-H mask too. So, yeah. All right. Well, I'll if Jessica's in here, I'll turn it over to her to talk a little bit about
All right.
fair.
Thank you, Allison.
Thanks, Allison. Morning, Jessica.
Good morning.
Morning.
So Fair Board has met a couple times here since I've started. We are starting to plan for the 2021 County Fair. At this point, we're just trying to plan as if it's going to be normal and try to adapt as things come about. There a lot of things will probably change between now and then. We're still looking at the possibility of a concert on the Wednesday night of Fair Week, which is something they had started planning last year. Most of that is dependent on cost, and we're looking at maybe trying to get some sponsors to help offset that cost. A big thing right now for Fair Board is watching our budget and trying to maintain. The 4-H building has not been rented out much due to all the restrictions, and so our income from the 4-H building is down. And so we're trying to just make sure we're being mindful of our budget. The Fairground Improvement Project, the Fair Board has kind of decided on our end that we think that the restroom upgrade is the first thing to try to tackle on that. We think that the only way for us to be able to try to do this is to try to get some grants as our matching funds. And I know that there's some trust money or something out there. But as far as our Fair Board budget, it's going to be tough for us to try to put any money into those. We are planning a fundraiser, and that's something that they had planned for last year and then had to change because of COVID. And that money would be used to help with the cost of the fair and any sort of improvement projects that we can do also. And I guess lastly, we do have an open Fair Board position right now, a vendor supervisor. So if you guys know of anybody who would be interested in doing that, send them in.
Right.
Any questions?
Excuse me, what are the dates for the fair?
The first week of August. So the Wednesday is August 4th.
Okay.
So 4-H usually starts on that Tuesday through the next weekend.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know if the rodeo board has had an opportunity to meet yet and what their decision is as far as for that project?
So our last Fair Board meeting was February 4th, and I thought that the rodeo club was going to be meeting that next week.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't heard any feedback from Lisa if she attended, and I think John was even thinking about attending, but I have not heard from them if they did attend or if the meeting even happened.
Okay. 'Cause I think that's kind of where the commission's at. We're kind of waiting for that recommendation, aren't we, Mike?
Yeah.
If that's a recommendation, I know that's the Fair Board's recommendation, but if they're recommending the restroom project, then we can start moving forward.
Perfect. We have another meeting the second Thursday in March, is our next Fair Board meeting.
Okay.
So we're hoping we have some feedback from rodeo at that point too. And we're gonna, we're reaching out to a lot of different vendors and entertainment, so we can kind of start figuring out who we want to see if they can come to our fair to entertain everyone.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Okay, so next, DES Coordinator Brittany Wills probationary period pay increase.
All right, I guess so. We met with Brittany last week. And did you have anything else, Brittany?
I don't,
Okay.
if you don't.
Okay. And looks like Brittany's kind of getting her feet on the ground, and she's been doing a pretty good job. Working on some grants, and I guess it was our recommendation that she receive her probationary pay increase that has already been included in her budget. So it's not an additional impact on her budget. What else? What else do we have?
So is there a motion then, or?
I was trying to think of what else would we discussed, but I think that was probably pretty much it, wasn't it? Yeah, so. Do you want to make that motion, Deb?
I will. I will move to approve Brittany Willis's pay increase as DES coordinator.
I'll second the motion.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve Brittany Wills probationary period pay increase. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
All right.
Thank you.
Carry on, Brittany.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
So that's the end of our agenda for today. We do have a 1 o'clock TV district board meeting, and then 2:30 we have a discussion with Canyon Enterprises Incorporated Silos contract, and then Thursday and Friday and Saturday the commissioner will be at Mako training in Butte. And with anything else to come before the commission? If not, we will adjourn at 10:19. The meeting with Canyon Enterprises is at 2?
Yeah.
2:30.
Mm-hmm.
2:30.
2:30.
2:30.
Yep. You can come to the exciting TV district board meeting if you would like.
Yeah, I get it. Got other things.